Hello, Big Brother fans. It is a review of episode 4, the first eviction and live show. Well, can we once again talk about Julie Chen's dress? Seriously, she's upgraded. Maybe she saw my show last year and said, I need to fire my, wardrobe person and found somebody who's actually got taste, because she's looking spiffy. Alright, so that's enough with that. We open with Nick being frustrated at McCrae's vote because, he did go ahead and do what he wasn't supposed to do according to the moving company. So that's when things had to start getting into play. Alyssa came out with the group as well, with the group of, Amanda, McCrae, and Andy, and let them know that she was Rachel's sister, as well as that she was the MVP. Interestingly, it's a spoiler that doesn't affect the game. Apparently, it hasn't gone past those 3 people because Aaron doesn't know about it. So that's interesting. Because I would think that that's kind of like fuel that they could throw on the fire, but because they've we find out later in the episode that they've sort of banded together. I guess it is something that is probably best kept secret for now. But then Andy voiced his opinion that it made him feel like he could trust her more now that she's actually come out and said, yes, I am Rachel's sister. Why the difference? I don't know, but if it works, it works, right? Caitlin and Jeremy's showmans. I just watched about 2 hours worth of them, and all I can say is this Cherokee big guy, kind of persona that he projects. What a joke. He's like a big old mushy pussy whipped pretty much guy. It makes me like, change the cameras. Let's see, Judd was ready. He called himself J-U-D-D Party Darty, and he was ready for midnight when they became haves instead of have-nots, and he was ready to drink him some wine. Come to find out, it was just 1 bottle of wine that was being given to the entire house. And at 10, they had all decided that they would wait until midnight so that they could all, drink together, right? All the have-nots would become haves. And apparently, Erin wanted to drink at 10:58. She didn't want to have to wait. So Jeremy says, okay, I'll go get it. And 11:19, he pours her a big old drink. And she says, no one needs to know. And, someone said, or is it midnight yet? And she was told no, and yet still drank the wine. And it was all gone by the time the house, it turned, everybody was partying, they were jumping up and down, they were so happy. First thing they wanted to do was get into that wine. There it was, not there. And so then a big old house fight, goes on. Well, in Erin's mind, it was a big old house fight. Everybody was giving her glares and being mean to her or whatever. Of course, I'm sure they edited out the meanness and whatnot. But then Jeremy decides he's going to stand up for her, and he's going to go in and tell them it was all him. He was the only person that drank it. If they want to fight, then bring it. He's ready to play. Yeah. So anyway, they didn't get their wine. So they proceeded to wine. Yeah, whatever. It's like they should just ask for more. More. I want more. Give me more. So, let's see. Jeremy took the blame, and Amanda and McCrae. Wow, do you think? Possible. I didn't watch the feeds, but it looked like they could possibly have gotten hot and heavy down, up there in the room. But He seems to be kind of scared of women. I loved when Aaron said that all is well in the world of Aaron and David, because David was feeling kind of worried about, the possibility that he could leave. And then we have a conversation right after that in the hammock between Amanda, Judd, and Spencer. And Spencer says, we should use her, Alyssa, as our weapon, because she's almost guaranteed to get the MVP every single week, since she's Rachel's sister and Rachel has a huge fan base. Why don't we weaponize her and use her as our weapon? Bring her into our fold, and make her as part of the team, and then use that MVP to their advantage and get out who they really want to get out that week, because they'll still have the numbers when they continue to do that. And I found interesting that first that it was Spencer that brought that up, because to date, they've only ever shown Nick as, the one that starts all the moving company issues. And sorry, Judd said, let's just keep her, for a few weeks, and then we got to get rid of her. And so that's really smart of him to think right now, because she could potentially be, a sleeper that just gets through because they're using her, Then we have the live show, and everybody's in the living room, and Julie chit chats with the guests, and the have not room was discussed. And okay, I'm gonna get this out of me because this is driving me crazy. Sorry. And Judd said that the have not room is something you do not want to have, apparently. Who likes sitting in airplane chairs, much less having to try to figure out how to sleep in it? I hope at some point they show us how they dealt with that. It would be really interesting. And they talked to Candace she talked to Candace for a little bit about how she was up and then she was off the block, and then she spoke with Helen as well about the twist with the 3 nominations. And Helen, said at first, she thought it wasn't going to be a big deal, but then the more they thought about it, it's like it really does put a huge wrench into, the game as we know it, because, one of the reasons you fight to be the HOH is because you have pretty much the say on 2 people, choosing 2 people, one of which will go, of your choosing. And so when you add in that third nomination, it creates a little bit of a twist there, because then the house has another person that they can decide to get rid of. And unless you're in the huge alliance like how they have going on right now, you're neither one of your 2 could potentially go, because it also adds in that added bunch of people that go in to play the veto. So it's really going to be a lot more fun, I think, with us. And finally, season 15, they figured out a way to really twist it around. I noticed right away that the guests were dressed rather comfy, so I knew that something very physical was going to happen. And so then we go to the live vote, and they each got to very briefly say something. Jessie chose to say happy birthday. I think it was to her dad. I didn't exactly jot down who it was, but I believe it was her dad. And she thanked the house guests for an amazing couple of weeks. Alyssa said that she came in being a target since day 1. It would be smart to keep her around because she's, she'll continue to be the target, and everybody else can, kind of slide by. And then that's when she came out to the rest of the house saying that she was indeed Rachel's sister, and no one comes between her and her big brother game, not even you, McRae. She doesn't do a very good Rachel, but it was still kind of funny. David, Bless his heart. That's all I can say. He says, I'm a stand-up guy. Mentioned something about a pink dress. Haven't been watching the feed, so apparently he's probably worn someone's pink dress. And good for you. Good for you, guy. And so we go in and they do the votes. And the people who voted to evict David were Amanda, Nick, Spencer, Helen, Howard, and Judd and Andy. And then for Alyssa, surprise, surprise, Aaron, Candace, Caitlin, Gina Marie, and Jeremy. That was, the Jeremy part was kind of interesting to me for some reason. Because isn't he part of the moving company? Is he? No, maybe not. But I'll have to go back in my notes to see if he's part of the moving company. Because I just thought for some reason that all the guys were, but I don't believe that all the guys are. It's, you know, they did leave out a couple of people, you know, like Andy and yeah. So either way, I knew that all the girls, except for Helen, would vote her out because girls can't deal with pretty. They just can't deal with somebody taking even a partial bit of their spotlight. Just saying. So David was evicted. Aaron was shocked. Loved it. I have to say, sometimes I get petty like that. You know, it's like, haha. Alyssa, at that point, after he had gone out, said, I love you, America. She's solidifying her slot as MVP every week. It would be funny, you know, I don't know that she'll win it again. It would be funny if she won, you know, almost consistently, and then one time they just switch it up. I would really, really like to see Andy or Helen be the MVP. I would love to see how they decide to play. Or even Howard, you know, I want to see who he would try to trip up. That'd be interesting. There's ones that don't get very much airtime. So Julie and David, I felt for Julie. He's not the easiest person to interview or get real answers out of. So she finally just pretty much called him out, you know, and said, oh, come on, tell me the truth. He really didn't expect it. He was like, oh, I kind of knew. You know, they were treating me differently. And she was like, well, who was treating you differently? How are they treating you differently? And I'm sure she has all her little minions that watch the feeds 24/7 and feed her what's gone on. So she probably knew exactly who, what, when, and where. But, you know. But there was something that she said after the goodbye messages. There was something that she said that leads me to believe that they're not going to hold him. They're not going to hold him in a hotel room because he wanted to know who was MVP and put him up. And she goes, oh, you'll be able to figure that all out when you go home and watch the tapes. And that right there kind of was like, oh, so he really is going home. But then I was thinking, if he isn't, you know what I mean? It's like, why didn't she tell him? So maybe he is going to be held because there's so many, like, you know, there's like an added 2 weeks, I believe there is, and there's so many people. So there's probably at some point going to be a double elimination, but then, you know, it's like there's so many different things that can be done. I'm not sure if they're really going to keep him around or not. So I kind of hope they don't. I hope they just send him home and let that be that with that. During the goodbye message, Nick came straight out and told him about the moving company. Not a smart move. You can't, you know, with the twists that happen, you can't give game away in your messages. So that's why I think added with the way what Julie said kind of made me think perhaps he's not coming back, but whatever. And he also called out Jeremy as being a part of David going home, which wasn't true because Jeremy indeed voted to get Alyssa out. So if it does happen and he comes back, then he's going to have that in his head, you know. The HOH was, sorry, it's so long. HOH was called Big Brother Barbecue, and it was a team effort, and I'm going to have to rewatch. Because I was watching it live, and there was a lot going on, but it was a team effort. There was a team, one person scoops the barbecue sauce and slides it across the, slippery bowling alley type of lane, and has to put the barbecue sauce in the other person's cup, and then they had to slide across and put it in one of two jugs. One was a smaller jug, and if you filled the smaller jug up, then you got a bigger cup, and you were able to, they were able to fill up the big jug faster. And if I'm not mistaken, Jeremy went directly to the big jug, to the small jug to start first. Anyway, they end this one still not knowing who the winner of the HOH is, and I've been watching the live feeds, and I know who won and all of that fun stuff, so I'll make a separate video about all of that. And that's that with this episode. I'll see you later. Bye.